Members, delegates, the board, staff, and guests, good morning. As I start my address this morning, it's my final opportunity to reflect on my 4 years as an officer of Holstein, USA. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about my journey. Through my time as vice president and president, I've had the opportunity to travel around the world, and time after time, I'm impressed with how much respect the world holds for our organization, Holstein, USA. This is an enviable position for us to be in and something that we must protect to the best of our abilities. I started this journey with my first trip as vice president. It was in August of 2009 to Guadalajara, Mexico, where I was asked to speak at the Segal Conference. I gave my presentation on the evolution of U.S. Holstein genetics. I was well prepared by our staff, as always, with plenty of slides and data on the great transformation of our Holstein cow. It was amazing to see what progress she's made. Also, as vice president, I was able to attend the Canadian Holstein Convention, both in Quebec and Nova Scotia, and there I got to meet many breeders, industry leaders, and realize how similar our breed associations are in our two countries. My first trip as president was to Izmir, Turkey, where Carl Kent and I were to attend a trade show and visit with many of the export companies and with some of the AI organizations that were attending the show. It was a very successful event. We were able to visit an operating dairy with about 150 fresh 2-year-olds, all arriving there from the United States. We also were able to see a boat arrive with over 1,000 bred heifers on board. It gave me great pride and respect for the job we've done of branding U.S. Holstein genetics. They are the most sought after in the world. In the spring of 2012, Glenn and I attended the Canadian Holstein Convention in Branson, Manitoba, where their president, Paul McLeod, talked openly with their members and the board on their board's decision not to move forward with the amalgamation of CDN, a difficult decision for their board, I'm sure. Also in the fall of 2012, I had the privilege of traveling to Japan, where I was where the influence of North American genetics were very strong both in their cattle and their breeding programs. Last fall, Glenn and I, along with many of our staff, attended the World Holstein Conference in Toronto, where we were able to meet and visit with many of the breed association leaders from around the world. There was a tremendous amount of discussion on genomics, as you would expect, but there was also real interest on how the role of breed associations needed to evolve to meet the needs of their members and their dairy industries. My final trip abroad was probably the one that I've enjoyed the most, traveling to Melbourne, Australia to attend International Dairy Week. Holstein Australia's CEO, Matt Schaefer, and I spent time with their board discussing ways that our associations might work more closely together. There was also a lot of interest in genomics and how they could best serve their membership. As Matt was the newly elected president of the World Holstein Federation, we spent a great deal of time on issues that are relevant to all breed associations around the world. I also had many interesting farm visits and a chance to get to know their breeders, and again, North America was the main supplier of genetics. These opportunities have given me the chance to see and understand how our GTPI has become the gold standard for genetic indexes around the world. It also made me realize how many of our friends and allies look up to Holstein Associates USA for leadership. As the largest dairy breed organization in the world, it is up to us to help raise all breed associations up and support their efforts to lead their dairy industries and serve their members. Establishing and maintaining the importance of breed associations around the world helps strengthen us all. Next, I'd like to talk about the evolving role we play within the U.S. dairy industry. The use of genomics as a selection tool hasn't changed the need to collect large amounts of phenotypic data, but it may change what data is used and the way in which it is collected. We must work to preserve that system, and we have to find ways to protect our unbiased gold standard. Continuing to improve the quality of all data used in the system will help raise the reliability of genomic predictions. One other area that has consumed an enormous amount of time for both John and I has been the work we've been involved with on the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding. The DDA is going to do more than just the transferred service work of genetic evaluations and genomic predictions from USDA. Or this could have been done a long time ago. They have made it clear they intend to be a service organization, which also puts them in direct competition with the services we offer here at Holstein, USA. And in today's world, as we work with our industry allies, we must realize the fact that they may also be our competitors. It is this that makes it important that we maintain an environment in our boardroom for clear, open discussion and debate on all issues of importance to our well-being. Leadership means asking the tough questions. Today, all roles played by the industry continue to evolve as we all find better ways to serve our members in the industry. The end goal of any of our boardroom decisions is to always do what's best for our membership and the association. Next, I would like to challenge you, the delegates, to bring the message of success of our great breed organization back to your state. Talk enthusiastically about the need to get involved. Help to encourage youth and find ways to bring young breeders back to your state associations and help lead and make a difference. This year I attended the Wisconsin State meeting in Wausau. I was amazed at the job they did at bringing young breeders back under a state association board. Congratulations, Wisconsin. One more story I'd like to share before I go, and that was a trip that I made to Querétaro, Mexico last year with when I represented the U.S. at the Mexican National Holstein Association. I traveled with Dan Myhock down there. Many U.S. animals were on display, and most of the genetics were cited by North American sires. We had a chance to tour several dairies with Dr. Felipe Ruiz. They were large and very modern. We met a young woman at our first stop, Maria Tania Sotomayor. Her responsibilities at the dairy were breeding, calving, and calves. She was well educated with a degree in veterinary medicine. After our visit, I encouraged her to consider applying for our next class of YDLI. She seemed interested, so I kept in touch and emailed her the necessary information. She did apply and is currently one of our members of our Class A. I enjoy working with youth, and my time spent with our youth in the foundation has been most rewarding. Our junior programs have grown so much in the time that I've been involved, and that's been 15 years since I started on the board, and they are the envy of the world. I do believe that YDLI is the premier youth leadership training program in the world. But none of this would be possible without the help of volunteers, and I know many of you are those people. Thank you for your commitment to our kids. So as I close, I'd like to thank those who've given me this extraordinary opportunity. I'd like to thank you, the membership of this great association, for giving me a chance to serve. Thank you. I'd like to thank John Meyer and his entire staff. They are dedicated, hardworking people with a real passion for what we do. Thank you for your friendship and service. Next, I'd like to thank Glenn Brown and his wife Frankie Jean for their friendship and support these last 2 years. I could not have picked a better person to serve as my vice president. Glenn, you are going to make a great president. I'd also like to thank all the people that I've had the opportunity to serve on the board with. I consider every one of you a friend and have learned an enormous amount about life from you. Next, I'd like to thank my family. Vanessa, as many of you know, I would not be up here without her. I love you and thank you. I'd also like to thank my 3 sons, Wayne, Mark, and Eric, for staying home, allowing me to travel and serve. Also our daughter, Lindsay, who critiques my work and makes me look good. Thank you, Lindsay. Vanessa and I are proud of all of you. So I've talked about change and the challenges that come with it, and it also brings opportunity, the ability to improve things, making them better for our next generation of dairymen and dairywomen. So engage in change. Expert change, for life is constantly evolving, never ending, yearly changing. Thank you.